Hey everybody, welcome back to Stratego Freaks for another informative and fun video. At least we think so. This is a video about the old blind spy. Everybody loves to do a good blind spy. And if you don't know what that is, if you're new to the game, a blind spy is when you attack an unknown piece with your spy and it turns out to be the marshal. And it feels so good when you can anticipate, get a read, or just go for it and you are correct in your assessment. A lot of my game is based off intuition and reads, and that's just how I play. It's not for everybody. Fundamental play is important, and reads come along with that fundamental play. You've got to have an understanding of what's taking place on the board and make decisions based off of what information you do have and what you think is going on. So in this match, I was about evenly rated with this player, and I was trying some new things out. You can see it's kind of a wacky setup. I have my power on the third row, kind of stacked up in this corner. I was hoping to kind of confuse my opponent, not give anything too obvious. Let's get to the goods though. So as the game progresses here, nothing very exciting, just some exchanging going down. Trying to figure out what is happening. And I do like spy play. I do keep it active and try to bring it to the forefront and make it an engaged, active piece. So let's see what happens here. All right, so I discover the kernel. I'm just going to stop for a second. I discover this early kernel, stoked about that. Going to turn that into a target for sure. I happen to have my general on this side. Looks very unobvious as a gen right here. And my marshal, not in the best of position to come and assist, but, it's a couple pieces move and I can get it over there. So let's keep going. Now he discovers mine. He doesn't know what this. Actually, he does know what that is. So he parked it right in front of this piece, and I was already thinking this could be a potential marshal based off of we like to have our pieces protected. It could have been anything. It could have been a bomb. It could have been a spy. These are the things that are kind of going through my mind in game. Let's keep going. Now, I don't want to make things too obvious and just run up, but I'm going to start migrating pieces over to hopefully scoop that up. Now, he's just leaving that piece there. Now, what's funny is that, I'm going to stop it again, is that I make a lot of mistakes in this game, some memory errors. It's hard to watch. Sometimes you watch your old games and you're like, what am I doing? And, but this is good because it helps you kind of work through those mistakes and hopefully you don't make them again. All right, let's keep going. Well, I'm coming up and I should have just insta-hit here, but also if this is the marshal and we just exchange, then his kernel gets away. And I really want to, I've got it trapped here and I want to go. He wants me to hit it. That's the feeling that I got because I start to really think that this piece behind the kernel here is his marshal. Let's keep going. And let's play. That hurt. Lost that. Now I just take and boom, I get that, which is great. It was probably hard for him to place my gen there. He should have saw it coming though. But it did come from the third row, and if he was paying attention, it didn't quite look like that. But I parked it. I gave him all the signs that it was. He just, he had to make a decision. Now, here's my dilemma. If I move this out of here, he could possibly come down and scoop this. I do have an escape route here with it. I could bring up my my spy, but he's also pressuring me over here. So it's not... I feel good about my position at the moment. Let's keep going. Now, I just decide right here that this is his marshal. And it could be anything. It could, could be a bomb, could be this, could be that. But I'm just going to go with my gut and bring up this spy. Now he's, he leaves it there. because he wants to pick up a piece. You know, he's down these sixes. Now, mind you, he did just get a captain. And he's got some pieces down on my setup. He might be able to pick up some more, but he just decides to leave it here, hoping that I hit to pick up another piece. Let's go. And I blind by it, and I was correct. Scooping that piece up right there in the fashion that I did is brutal. That definitely hinders his chances of pulling a victory out here. Now he wants to get a piece back, so what's the first thing he do is he just implodes on this center bomb. He basically was like, I need to get a piece back. I'm going to hit this. This is not the most likely spot for a bomb, and I had a feeling he was going to do it, and he did it. And that puts him further in a hole. He's down the marsh and the two kernels here. It's not looking good. I'm going to scan forward here, actually. Let me stop. So he comes down and just kind of brutalizes, does some lottoing, but that ultimately traps his one attacking piece over here in the corner. He's going to make a run down the other side and try to do something over there, but he can only get so far. I'm just going to scan way forward. And I eventually just pinch off the board. He exchanges, and the game is over. The outcome of this game is not what I wanted to show you. Clearly what I wanted to show you was the blind spy. Go with your gut, guys. Have fun with that. Obviously be fundamentally sound, make good decisions, and outplay your opponent. And I felt at that time that was a good, fun thing to try, and it happened to work. Anyways, this concludes our video today on the blind spy. I've got a few good blind spies in my library, and I'll post some of those too, and hopefully they'll help you find out a way to win. Anyways, have a great day. See you on Strategus. Hope to beat you on Strategus, and I'll see you soon. Bye now.